Whenever kids would do good or we achieved something, it was always a pizza party. And I kind of just, I guess, got burnt out of it as a kid. Of like everybody always wanted pizza. Like, can we just have a hamburger party? As a kid, I couldn't understand. Like, why can't we have some other food?
Well, pizza, you gotta understand, pizza's cheap for these schools. They can just
Well,
heat up in
yeah,
the
yeah. I
microwave.
understand it as an adult. As a kid, I didn't get it. But no, we have a local one here. It's just a one-off place. It's called Avalanche, and it is absolutely
Welcome
awesome.
to the party.
There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Long Distance Pizza Party Podcast, episode 30. No, it's 39. I was looking at it. It's 39 because next episode will be 40. It's 40 episodes. Because I've been working on a guess of 2024 compilation. I've been working on it since we didn't record last week. One, because we took forever trying to find a topic, and then people weren't feeling well. So we're recording this week, and Crad drug up us a guest with his friend Matt. How are you?
Well, but so.
Matt, I'm going to tell us a little about yourself, us and the audience, while I wait for Doc to get here because he is running a few minutes late.
Absolutely. So I'm a father of just now five. So we just brought in a new baby girl about 2 weeks ago. I work as a chaplain in hospice care, live in Southeast Ohio, been ministering with our church for several years now. And I've had the privilege of knowing Chris since, I believe, 2011, 2010, one of the two.
Somewhere in there.
And well, somewhere around there, yeah. And pretty big geek, although I don't really get into it as much as I used to. But I have a past of really enjoying a lot of stuff like that and play some music.
Neat, neat,
The
neat.
guitar, so.
So when you call yourself a geek, what do you quantify as that? Are you the Star Trek level Star Wars geek, or are you like the Marvel DC, or are you kind of like a combination of it all? A
I
little
would say
bit
a
of and
combination
some.
of it all. And the reason I say not as much anymore is once you get past like 2010, my knowledge of a lot of that starts to dwindle down. Stuff that came up before it, I was really big into and had a lot more knowledge and interest and time invested into it.
Neat. Oh, my camera just okay. My camera just flickered, and I don't know what it was doing. The shutter just randomly collected that distracted me the heck out of me. We can edit that part out. That's it. Doc, hi.
Hello.
My camera got scared of Doc. You just popped on the screen. That's what it was.
Yes, it's all my fault.
It's all your fault. Then we're gonna tell us later when you're like up late packing. Because for those who don't know, Doc said he wasn't gonna be here.
I wasn't planning on it.
He wasn't
But I
planning
thought I
on it
had
because he had traveling.
Yes,
He was just so excited about our guest, he just had to come. I mean, just had to pop on.
There we go.
exactly. So you could tell us all about Chris.
Yes. We're this is
Well, we do
payback.
we,
No.
we do share several stories. That's very true.
This is payback because it took me forever to realize that his brother was on. He's like, "Hey, I have a guest," and I looked at the last name, and I'm like, "There's no way this is his brother." Until the very end, I was like, "Oh, that's funny." My brother still won't come on. I keep messaging him, he just ignores it.
Wow.
But anyway,
Come
speaking of
on.
Matt, like you said, me and him have gone back for a very long time. Matt was once part of a fairly big Christian music festival called
Okay.
Ichthus, and played in several bands.
Gesundheit.
Thank you, bless you. And he still plays music in the church band. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that, man? You were kind of past history as a musician.
Yeah, so I grew up playing rock and heavy metal. Started playing guitar when I was about, I can't remember, 13 or 14. Oddly enough, I only started playing guitar because me and my neighbor used to try to one up each other on everything, whether it be a cool trick on a bike or skateboard. And my dad played music, so I thought, hey, I got a one up on it. And ended up getting a huge passion out of it. Again, played rock and metal. And when I got into the church, I got a wonderful opportunity back in 2011 to play with a band. And we got to play several different festivals on the Christian music circuit. We actually played in Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Wisconsin, Michigan, and never anything big. It was all the lower stages, but it was a wonderful opportunity.
Neat. So since you performed all of that, did you have a favorite brand? Did you have a favorite band growing up that you like gravitated towards that like inspired you to join that type of playing music?
No, you can go pre-Christ and post-Christ if you want to. That's fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, favorite band, yes, but my style of playing did not really fit that. Pre-Christ, or what we like to joke with the BC days before Christ days. Um, I was really big into like grunge, so Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, stuff like that. But I really gravitated more towards the high impact, high speed of thrash. So
Mm,
Megadeth, Metallica, stuff like that.
neat, neat. Yeah, I recently went to a metal concert. First concert I've been to in like several years, and the one thing mistake I made, I didn't think about it, is bringing earplugs.
Really?
I didn't think about it. No one told me anything. Again, first concert I've been to in like 5 or 6 years. So a buddy at my church, he's like, hey, he does like that, setting up music and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And he's like, hey, you gotta go. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I got you free tickets. I was like, sweet. So I went, not knowing any of the bands. I knew one of the bands, The Protest. I don't know if you know who those guys are.
Mhm.
They're from Indiana, the Indiana band.
Okay.
They're from Indiana to like Kentucky and a couple other places. And I didn't think about bringing earplugs until I look over and there's this older guy, and he just keeps dropping his earplugs, and I'm like, I probably should have brought those. The more music's playing, so I legit left, and I like my ears were ringing. Like I'm just sitting there in my car. I'm like, that was fun, but I can barely hear anything.
Oh wow.
Oh, they get old enough to actually need earbuds.
I don't know. I was like, maybe next time I'll just get me a pair of earplugs, just in case. It's okay. I almost brought my mom with me, which would have been very interesting.
Wow.
She wanted to
Wow.
she wanted to go, and then I was like, because she enjoys some of my music, not all of my music, some of my music.
It
And
tells you she enjoys your music. Okay.
yeah, she's like, oh, I gotta go to your sister-in-law, soon to be sister-in-law's bridal shower. I was like, yeah, you probably have more fun at that. Uh, have fun, but yeah, that
I
was.
find that funny because my mom actually, when I was talking to her on the phone the other day, has actually got tickets to go see Metallica soon. So,
Oh, that's funny.
That's
Yeah, I'm sure that's expensive. Isn't it like $1,000 a ticket or
I
something
would
like that?
imagine. Yeah, I'm not going,
mm,
but she was just telling me about it. She's taking my
Sheesh.
younger brother. So.
That's funny. That's funny. We do have a guest question, but we
Oh,
Yeah,
started talking
cool.
about
we
music.
got to ask him the guest questions. I forgot
Yes.
about it.
So we
How
are
can we not
called.
ask him the guest questions?
I know. We are the Long Distance Pizza Party podcast,
Okay.
and we would talk about what is like your favorite pizza topping or maybe favorite pizza place.
I will be completely honest with you, and I may get shunned off of here. I'm not really a huge pizza fan.
You're
And I will
first
say,
that's actually said this, so
okay, well,
you're the first to admit this.
yes, to admit it.
here's the honest truth of it. It's not that I don't like it. It's more of a mental thing than a physical.
Hmm.
In school, whenever kids would do good or we achieved something, it was always a pizza party. And I kind of just, I guess, got burnt out of it as a kid. Of like everybody always wanted pizza. Like, can we just have a hamburger party? As a kid, I couldn't understand. Like, why can't we have some other food?
Well, pizza, you gotta understand, pizza's cheap for these schools. They just
Well,
heat up in
yeah,
the
yeah, I
microwave.
understand it as an adult. As a kid, I didn't get it. But no, we have a local one here. It's just a one-off place. It's called Avalanche, and it is absolutely awesome. But if I had to pick a chain, I'm gonna go Pizza Hut just because I love stuffed crust.
Nice. Pizza Hut's not that bad. I think their quality's gone up. I think it's flipped because it's always been, at least what I know, Little Caesars is the one that sucks. And then I think it's flipped where now Pizza Hut's like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like whenever people bring up pizza, Hut, they're like, oh, I remember the red cups, I remember the salad bar, and then COVID hit, and I
Oh yeah.
think they got rid of a lot
Oh
of them.
man, I have fond memories of like reading the books for the personal pan pizza
Oh
too.
yeah,
Oh
dude, I went to Pizza Hut like a month ago. My mom I had picked it up for, when your parent's a teacher or it works in a church, you have sometimes if you have some multiple kids, they run errands for you. It's I guess
yeah.
indentured labor. I guess I don't know. I don't know. But I picked up
Working for the kingdom, Nathan.
yeah.
Working
There
for
we
the
go.
king.
I just walked in and I was like, man, this kind of sucks. It kind of looks boring. I was like, the newer way they have it. I was like, this is kind of boring. But it wasn't like the sit down ones. It was more of the I guess it's the express ones. I don't know how it doesn't have the seating area. It was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me ask
Okay.
you a question. Pineapple, yes or no?
I
Oh,
do.
this has been a
So
raging debate on this show.
I do like pineapple on pizza. I think I'm the only one in my friend group that likes it.
I like pineapple on pizza.
But it would you like it cooked on it or would you put it on afterwards? Because I've seen people
Either
cook
way
it.
is fine for me,
Yeah.
honestly. Either way.
Yeah,
Why,
as long as
why
it's not
wouldn't you cook
straight
it?
out of the. I've seen people just put it on there right after they cook it and not cook it, so it's weird because it's not
Uh,
staying on the pizza and it's cold because it's right out of the fridge.
Yeah.
that's okay. To
Yeah,
each their own.
uh, dude, I know.
We
I
listen and we don't judge.
So that place that I told you about up here, it's actually maybe about 5, 6 miles from where I'm at right now. They actually have a pizza or a pizza that has kimchi on it.
Ooh,
Really good.
there's a pizza place around here. It's called Azip's. Legit pizza spelled backwards, almost with the S on it. I think it's a zip. I think everyone. It's like the Kroger thing where everyone says Kroger's.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things. They had a Chinese pizza. They call it March Crabness. You know,
That's-
it had
Wow.
like a crab rangoon like base to it, like instead of
Mhm.
tomato paste. It was really good. I don't think they've ever done pineapple on a pizza yet.
Okay.
I don't think they serve it, but I don't think they've ever had like a monthly special with it.
I'm about to make an inside joke that only Matt gets. I wonder if they should serve that at Red Flower.
Don't want. Do we want to know what red flour is? Is that a local?
It's a local place that everybody loves, and I don't understand why sometimes.
Ah,
Good.
okay.
That sounds good, man.
I'm not a big Chinese food person, so that helps or hurts, I
It
guess,
depends
in
on the
this case.
Chinese food, I think. Like some places, like
Yeah.
people, all my friends like Panda Garden. Or is it Panda Garden?
And
Panda Express,
Express?
you
Panda
mean?
Express, yeah. I'm
Panda
You
sorry,
mean
Garden.
you mean the
no,
He's putting the
greasiest?
Olive Garden and Panda Express
I
together.
mean,
It's
no,
it's
Olive
because
basic.
Express
It's
and Panda
basically
Garden.
there's a
it's
local
basically the
place
same.
there's a local place called Panda Garden as well. That's what the confusion is. There's Panda Garden and Panda
Okay.
Express. That's what the confusion is every time, and I get the same reaction every time because I can't tell the difference.
We have a
And
China Panda restaurant up here, so
yeah, so and everyone likes it, and I have it sometimes, and I'm like, this isn't good. Like I don't.
Hey, it's nice and greasy. It fills you up, and then you don't have to worry about it staying in too long.
I also don't like going there because of the parking lot's horrible. Like they block you in, and it's impossible to get back out. So
Do you buy something? No.
yeah, yeah. Well, around here, Crad, our zoning is horrible. They put a cemetery right across from a dentist's office. If that tells you anything.
Okay,
That tells you anything about my town I live in.
I mean,
that's a little
It's
creepy. But anyway,
it is. Anyway, moving on.
there's
moving on. Yeah, so you've been in ministry for a good long time now, Matthew, and I've watched you obviously grow in that and take on a lot more responsibility and things like that. What do you think, in this current form of ministry you're in, because you're kind of doing sister church to your main church, I know that, and kind of doing a lot of outreach work. What do you see as kind of the challenges to doing that type of work in this environment, like with outreach?
I think a lot of people have been church hurt. And so it's not simply getting them to know Jesus, but it's getting them to understand that people are flawed and that just because somebody in the church has hurt you does not mean that Jesus never cared for you. And so I think that's one of the biggest hurdles right now is just trying to help people through the things that they've dealt with in the past because most of them have church experience to some extent, but it wasn't exactly the most helpful or most pleasant so far right now.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that that's even a problem we have. That there's a church that's out there that maybe turns someone away
Mhm.
or something was said. It's very unfortunate that's a thing, and I think as like you're saying, as Christians, we need to understand that, and sometimes we don't have to be very pushing.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's just being there and being the example versus what I think what media likes to push Christians are. They're always pushy. They're always down your throat. They're always spouting scripture. I think that's like a fine line you need to toe. Because I'm gonna tell on my brother's like that, where he's very pushy. I'm like, hey, I don't know much about this person, and neither do you. So you pushing is not potentially helping. Because there's a lot of like people I've worked with, they're like, oh, I used to go to this church, or I found out one of my coworkers used to go to the school I went to, and the school was founded by a church, and that church is still there, and school's still there, and they were kind of hurt by it, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, but hey, maybe you should meet me up Sunday at my church. We do things a little differently. You might have a little better like, you have to, I guess, in that situation it really depends on the person. Like the blanket bring people to church doesn't always work. And I think some Christians need to understand that.
Well, one thing that we really try to do is just build up a rapport.
Mhm.
And this is just to give facts, not to say, toot my own horn or anything in any capacity, but like we do a free meal with our Bible studies right now at our daughter work. And we have a lot of people. I would say a good three-quarters of the people just come in for a meal and then leave. And so they're not staying for that Bible study. But yeah, they're still coming in. Some of them been coming for over a year and a half, and they're slowly building that rapport with them to where they'll sit in for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, which is still more than what they ever would have. But we're still showing them love,
Yeah.
regardless, because unfortunately, I think, like you said, you don't necessarily have to push them to church, because I'm afraid people sometimes get into the mentality that, well, if they don't get to church, they never get Jesus. And the truth of the matter is, people get Jesus out on the streets. People get Jesus in the
Yeah.
prison.
Yeah.
That's a problem that the church in the last 20, 30 years or 50 years has fostered, because like, oh, you got to get to church. The whole going out and doing evangelism
Mhm. And,
is,
and if I can clarify, I'm a very big supporter of churches, so I'm not trying to
oh
say
yeah,
that it's not important. But we actually just wrapped up a sermon series at our home church, talking about the gifted church, and it was more so focusing on the purpose of the ministry is for the building up of the saints to go out and do the work themselves as well.
yeah.
It's not just one person behind a pulpit trying to reel in people, but the whole church is supposed to go out and be able to reach into their personal bubbles of people that they know, their family, their workers, the people they meet at the grocery store, however it be.
Yeah. I think another thing people need to realize, maybe you don't invite them to your church. Sometimes it's better to invite them to a different church, especially if they're a new Christian. Um, I'm not gonna say it's like about my church. I'm not gonna say my pastor sugarcoats everything, but there are some things where he's very strong about, like very intense, that might scare someone away. Because a lot of people at my church have been there for years,
Mhm.
and there are some people that come in that are newer, but sometimes they leave, and
Yeah.
it's any reason. They got busy, they moved, anything. A couple people that I've invited from work, I've invited them to the church that my school's at again, because I know that pastor. I was there for years. I would go to some of the services because I have a lot of my friends are there, and he does stuff in a way where it's very welcoming to new converts,
Yeah.
in a way where it's not going to scare them away. It's got a very welcoming environment. Like everyone always asks, "Oh, it's that church that's over on 25th and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm like, yeah, yeah." It's like people know where it's at. They drive by it because it's in a spot where it's right in between both sides of town.
Mm.
Versus my church where it's kind of tucked back in the corner. So everyone kind of knows it. They might not have been in it, but they at least see it. Like I get asked, like, "Yeah, what are they building over there?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't. I mean, I don't go there, so sometimes I don't know." Like legit, I go to that church, like, yeah, you know where everything's at. Like you guys added on a whole section, separate wing. I don't know where everything's at anymore. Like my one of my buddies did to me the other day. I'm like, dude, I haven't been here since you guys started the construction. I don't know where anything's at in this building. He's like, oh, I'll show you. I was like, yeah, but I think that's a problem in the church that people need to understand too. Be like, yeah, you gotta go to my church, but you don't also want to scare them away.
Mm.
And that's
Well,
something.
go ahead.
No, no, you're good.
Oh, I was going to say, I think that one of the hardest things is being able to mix the meat and the milk of the word.
Mm,
So like, your seasoned saints, they're needing that deeper study in the Word of God. But yet your brand new person coming in really needs that milk of the Word. And so that happened to me actually last night. So we've been doing a sermon series at our daughter work through First Corinthians. Well, the first 4 weeks were all pretty good, and then we get to chapter 5, and I have the biggest group we've had in quite some time. And I was like, oh. this one gets really deep. So I'm having to like maneuver through getting brand new people to learn about what First Corinthians 5 is, which I mean, it very first starts off that it's been reported among you there's fornication in the church. I'm like, oh, okay. We're getting deep today. So
Jeez.
having to maneuver how to talk to brand new people who are coming in, as well as people who've been in our Bible studies for several months.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny, like, and it's you apply that the same way with your kids ministries or your like young adult ministries. You you can't explain everything the same way you're going to explain in an adult church to a kid. They will
Yeah.
not understand it. Funny enough, so I do our kids' church, and I was just covering last week for one of our ladies, and we were talking about the prodigal son, and we got to the part where he's eating the pig slop, and one of the kids, her grandma was my Sunday school teacher,
Mhm.
so she's probably heard some of this, and she just looks at me, and she goes, "Why do they just wash the pigs?" Like she didn't understand that back in the day they didn't eat pigs like that. To the Jews was unclean. But like to an adult, you might understand that, but as a kid, you just see the pig as the cute animal. You don't understand that like the reasons why Jews didn't touch them or eat them. Like there was a reason for it.
You got to do the whole backstory to explain it.
Oh yeah, and it was funny, and I didn't think about it. I was just sitting there trying to corral another kid that was acting up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, a kid might not understand that. That's funny. Good question. You get a popsicle stick. That's our currency in kids' church.
Okay.
When you
I
ask
like that.
questions or you're good in church, we switch it between tickets and popsicle sticks. It's whatever we run out in front of first, and then we switch it out so the kids kind of get confused. So it's funny the reactions. Popsicle stick. Next week you get a ticket.
Nice.
It's funny. That's funny. Um, Going from church and you were talking about being a geek.
Mhm.
I know I've asked this not with you but with other guests.
Okay.
Did you ever find it hard being a geek, being a Christian, and trying to enjoy some stuff maybe someone else enjoyed?
How do you mean?
I know there are some people might like. I'm gonna use an example because I have a friend that likes this. He likes Spawn, which is
Yeah.
very like people like has a lot of demonology and stuff like that. Some Christians would shy against that. Versus I know there's some Christians that like that type of stuff. Was there ever anything that maybe in like in a friend group that or like popular culture that people seem to really enjoy, and you're kind of like, why would I look at that or why would I enjoy that? Or you were enjoying it and you kind of had like that conviction moment, and you're just like, I don't know why I'm reading this or why I'm watching this. I don't know if that's the best way to
So when
explain
I
it.
first really got into church, now I came to the Lord in '06, but I joked that I was a Sunday Christian.
Hmm.
And it wasn't a Lord forgive me for what I did next week, more of a Lord forgive me for what I'm going to do this week. So it wasn't until a little bit later that I really gave my life over to the Lord. And during that time, The Walking Dead was very, very big. And then that was
Ah.
a Sunday thing every Sunday night, you know. And I was a new Christian as far as like at the church I was going to, really, really on fire for the Lord. And I remember telling the pastor just, you know, nonchalantly, just like, oh, I'm going to go watch Walking Dead tonight. And he wasn't mean and he wasn't judgy, but he just looked at me. He's kind of like, is that really the kind of show you think a good Christian should be watching? And he kind of left it there, you know. I didn't think much about it, but like that night, I felt just a little bit weird. And the next week, I felt a little more weird. The next week, I was like, I just don't really enjoy this anymore like I used to. And so I would say stuff like that did kind of happen a little bit earlier. And so, kind of right now, what I do in my life is, you know, there are certain rules that are absolute no's, but then there are others are we celebrating the villain?
Mm.
You know, are we celebrating the evil? Like, I don't mind the evil being there because otherwise you're not going to have anything in a story.
Yeah.
You got to have some kind of conflict. But I do draw a line of, hey, are we celebrating the evil, or does the evil at least have a good redemption arc at the end?
Yeah. And
And so,
is it warranted? Is it
yeah, is it warranted?
necessary? Is it necessary? Yeah. I'm
Mhm.
going back to Spawn again. I have a friend that likes Spawn. I think Spawn's a cool tattoo and nothing else because like look if you look at anything with Spawn any of his history, it's like, oh, we're gonna meet Malbolgia, this the demon of like the seventh circle of hell. I'm like, not really sure. You know, it's very celebratory of Jesus here, especially when they got into like the minutia of like demons and angels. I'm like, oh, I don't like this representation. It's very much media's representation of how demons and angels are,
Hmm.
of like good and evil, but maybe the demons are the good ones. That's where
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, we're not. It's not necessary. You're just doing because you want. There's people that be drawn to this, like, oh yeah, demons are cool. Versus like, what's another example? Like the Horned King and like the Black Cauldron, like that's
Okay.
evil. That's evil. He's evil for evil's sake, but nothing he does in that is celebrated. Everyone knows it's bad. At the end, you're not rooting for him. You're more rooting for the main character to defeat him.
Well, like for instance, one of my kids, his favorite IP is the Grinch. Like he
Mm,
absolutely loves the Grinch, and I don't mind that because even though he is bad, and they even sing a song about it, by the end of it, he has a redemption arc.
yeah.
And so I tell him, hey, yeah, we kind of celebrated it first, but then we realized that we were wrong to celebrate it. And by the end of it, we kind of learned a lesson. So stuff like that, I don't mind. But yeah, evil for evil's sake, as long as we call it that and it's not supposed to be celebrated, I don't really mind too much.
Yeah, I think that's just media now, where they're like, "Oh, the bad guy is actually the good guy," in
Yeah.
media. I'm like, what happened to like Sunday morning cartoons where the guy, like, the one villain's building a weather machine one episode, and the next episode he's like copywriting like laughing fish. Like, what happened to that versus like anything else? Like, I read a lot of comic books, so there's always either they run out of an idea or someone has an idea. It's like, what if, what if Lex Luthor was a good guy? Like that thing. I'm like, and I'm like with that, I'm like, oh, you could do it, but I know at the end of the day he's gonna be a villain again.
Yeah.
Like, but I do like it when they did it, but it didn't last that long, and it's frustrating.
Well, you
Um,
bring up comic books, and I would say a lot of it came when the Comics Code Authority kind of got disbanded.
yeah.
When Stan Lee had an issue with Spider-Man talking about drug use, but he used it in such a way that Spider-Man was kind of going against it. But even then, they weren't even supposed to use that at all.
Oh no, that
And
was the thing
so,
back in the day. There's a lot of that back in the day. Even now, like I feel like again going back to the Submarine Evil, I feel like there's a lot more again in movies. There's two Joker movies that are out there
yeah.
where they're like, "Hey, let's celebrate Joker as a good guy. Like he's a good guy, really." And I'm like, "No."
Do
When
we
people
actually?
are dressing up as Joker and Harley Quinn and treating it like it's a good relationship,
Oh,
you can
oh, oh
say,
no, 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 no. It's not. It's
Yeah.
not.
like this is a very abusive relationship. We
Oh
should not be
yes.
celebrating this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's yeah. Same with like there's other characters that like let's make them cool like in the 90s. Let's add spikes to them. Let's get Superman a mullet. Like let's
Hey, Mullet Superman was the best Superman. I'm just gonna say.
he was I kind of like it, but then whenever they bring it up, it's weird whenever it's brought up. Or like at the same Lex Luthor had like an Australian clone son or something like that. I was like, oh, you just
Oh,
lost me at this point. Like when the Bone Monster is doing like WWE wrestling moves on characters, you lost me here. Like, that's
well, that's
funny.
the beauty of comic books, though. You go too far, people don't like it. Just retcon the whole thing.
Oh yeah, there we go. Is that what they do with Batman? We're like, hey, let's have the trained assassin be Batman
Yeah.
because that's a good idea. That's a great idea. Going from nerd stuff, you were bringing up hospice.
Mm.
Um, have you ever had what is it like trying to reach people in hospice? Have you ever had situations like that?
What do you mean reaching? Like,
Like because I don't know how you do. Well, explain how you when you do the hospice. I guess that's a better question. When you're in hospice, kind of what are you doing in that when it's, of course, being hospice is more towards the end of their life for a lot of these people.
Well, that's yeah.
so
Okay,
typically, yes.
okay, I know, but some people are there for short times, and sometimes it's seems like it's a little longer. Like,
Well, I want to start off with it's a very rewarding job. I've only been in it since November, so I'm still somewhat getting my feet wet. Oh, excuse me. But typically, what I do is I just get a spiritual and life review with them first off. I see them within the first 5 days that they're admitted to our services. I just get to know them a little bit, try to build up a rapport with them, a rapport with their family, see if there's any kind of existential, spiritual, social needs that they have, any kind of fears, worries, anything like that. And then typically we'll try to insert maybe Bible studies into it or just focus in on what it is that's bothering them. Now, I have some that are completely content and they're just want to, as we call it, shoot the bull or shoot the breeze. They don't really want to talk a lot religion, but they still enjoy me coming. And then I have others that we're doing like deep dives into doctrine. And so I kind of meet each person where they are and what their needs are. And so I'm sure Chris is going to bring it up, so I'll go ahead and get ahead of him. I am apostolic. And so that being said, I meet people across all different kinds of denominations. And so it's not really my place to tell them their denomination is right or wrong, but more so meet them where they are in their belief in God and try to strengthen that belief that they have, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so to say I'm trying to reach them, we talk about God, talk about their understanding of God, who God is, what their understanding of salvation is, what their understanding of the afterlife is, and I'll try to maybe lead a horse to water, I guess, if you want to call it that, to where, let's talk about the Bible. What do you think about when you come to this verse? What do you think about when I bring up salvation? And then try to get where they come from. And if they don't really ask my personal opinion, I'll ask if they want to know. If they don't, then I don't really push it. Because our job is to make their final days, their final months, however long it be.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think that is one thing. Again, people don't understand your pastor has a lot of people to talk to in your church. And so I think that's a thing in the church where there's got to be those people that that are led to wanting to reach out to those people. There's some that we want to lead to the kids ministry, to the young adults, your adults, your older people. And I think that's actually really cool. My mom's been doing ministry for years, but she would just, there's like two people in our older ladies in our church that she would minister. Like she would take us with them, and we just hang out with them for like a couple hours, like a week. So like having those small moments with those people like could make their day, especially if it's towards the end of their life. Maybe not all of their family's not around, which is very unfortunate. So it's kind of cool that you're kind of there again, leading them to the water or filling them if they're still like if they're a believer and then you're keeping them filled. Which I think is actually really neat.
So what's been the
And there
most rewarding experience you've
are
had so far in that job, Matt?
most rewarding. Honestly, I think it's just when the family, like after a loved one passes away and the family's reaching out to you afterwards and just showing their gratitude and saying, how much it meant to them. Because a lot of times you don't hear that. A lot of times, you kind of sow the seed, if you will, out to people and you don't really hear a lot coming back. But when a family member reaches out to you afterwards saying like, hey, you have no idea how much it meant to me, how much it meant to my mom or my dad or whoever it may have been, and we just really, really appreciate what you've done. It makes you realize that you're doing a good work.
Do
Neat.
you find it kind of hard to separate your work life from your personal life or even your ministry life?
Uh, Somewhat. I love ministering. And so, yeah, every job has its hangups that you're not really a big fan of. I mean, it's the medical field, so I have to chart everything. So that's always lovely. But, the driving to get to meet people is amazing. The only thing really is just I've never really been good with time management. And so I've got a very large territory. Like I could drive 2 hours just to meet one patient. And so if I drive 2 hours, I only have one patient, I got to find something else to do for a few more hours. But then again, that's 4 hours out of my day just in driving. So some days I'm getting home later. Some days I'm just trying to figure out what in the world I'm doing because everybody's so spread out. Does that make sense? I guess.
Yeah.
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 My question, I guess I should have clarified a little more. You see a lot of hard things, you see a lot of emotional things, being in the field you are with the hospice and everything. Do you ever find that kind of carrying into your personal life, is what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So it's kind of like the stresses of it and the worries about the
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Are
A
you able
couple
to
of
leave
times.
work at work?
There were a few that I've built a little bit more of a rapport with, that I really built up with their family. And then when, the loved one passed away, it was a little bit harder because this wasn't just, oh, it's a patient. This is like, oh, this is like someone I've really, really built up a good relationship with that we've talked for several weeks. And then, all of a sudden it's like, okay, now it's that time. But then you have to remind yourself they were already going to anyway. You know, the whole hospice mentality is that, if a person's disease or if their diagnosis progresses at the rate that it is, they're expected to pass away within 6 months. Doesn't mean they always do, but typically that's kind of the understanding. And so it's kind of one of those situations where you recognize that majority of the people that you have, you're going to be there for that last moment. And that is a little bit harder to digest sometimes. And I find myself thinking about it more often than I guess maybe I should.
Neat.
Well, I guess in a way it also kind of points to, especially in ministry outside of, your work environment, how important it is to help prepare people for an eternity.
Mm.
Um, you know, because obviously we all are in the Bible, what it says we will all face death one way or the other. Either by the grave or by the Lord coming back. That still is a form to me of death because it passes away the old life
Mhm.
that we are currently, the old earth that we're currently part of. So I guess in a way, it really can point toward something that's of more of eternal significance than
Yeah.
just the everyday kind of thing. But going to a lighter subject, I think, because that can be a very heavy
A
subject.
little heavy there.
Yeah, that's a very heavy subject, and I'm not a particular fan of talking about death, even though I'm ready for it. Um, these boys want to hear any funny Chris stories you got.
Oh
So you got
boy.
one? I know you do because I was there. So
Well, I could always say that how me and you met was both failing the same class.
that is true. That is accurate. We were in a computer.
Web page
Uh,
design.
was it
It was,
Office?
it was web page design.
Web page. Okay, we were web page design. And we both were not doing that great at it, and somehow we got to talking about how much we sucked at it, and found other things in common. Also including dating the same girl at the same time.
Yeah,
And
we'll talk about
Whoa,
that.
whoa, awkward.
but that's old stuff. Old stuff. Sorry, he's married and I'm married now. Um, but we didn't know that we were both talking. Well, I should say he was dating her, I was talking to her. There was a difference. We didn't
Ah,
know the other was.
Go on to a different funny story.
Yeah, moving on.
where there's war and me and
Moving
Doc are
on.
left in the middle. Just
Moving on. We could talk about how I scared the crap out of you under a bridge at a film festival one
what?
time.
Let's hear his side of these stories.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
So I'm not afraid of very many things, but I do startle very easy. And so we were at what was it called? River Run?
Yes, it's the River Run Film Festival,
River Run Film Festival down in was it
Winston-Salem, North
Winston-Salem?
Carolina.
Winston-Salem, North Carolina. They do a big movie festival there every year. At least they did. I mean, it's been however long ago. And we got lost trying to find where we were supposed to go to the next film because it spread out pretty much like all over the town or city. And we ended up going under a bridge, and dude just kind of, what'd you do? Holler at me or something?
Yeah, I just went or something like that.
And
Really?
I said I startle easy, and so I pretty much just jumped about out of my skin. But
Because
keep in mind, we had just went behind a restaurant where this guy was like holding a big giant chef's knife, and so we were already a little bit leery from that.
yeah, he stepped out of the shadows and asked if he could help us.
that's not ominous at all.
And this was after our media teacher had warned us not to go down certain streets because we would end up on the bad side of Winston-Salem. And so we're wandering around at night, not knowing where we are. We've run into this chef with a giant butcher knife,
That's funny.
asking if he can help us. And we're just, it was fun times, man. It was fun times. Let's see if I can
I'll
think
keep
of.
this PG, but Chris knows what I'm talking about. Don't watch the movie Uncle Boone Me, Who Can Recall His Past Lives. Just don't.
We'll take your word for it.
Now I'm
Yeah.
curious.
Thankfully, there's something to be said for falling asleep in a movie. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, Chris was very fortunate for that one. So
And let's say they woke me up with a tale to tell. That's for sure. But
yeah.
anyway, uh, so there's that. Let's see what else we got. We got
Every time you tried to come out of that Pontiac Sunfire.
Oh yeah, yeah. His wife had a car which I called the birthing car, and the reason I called it was the birthing car is I'm a man of significant size. I'll put it like that. I'm a bit on the tubby side, and so she had a car that was like one of those cars you had to push the seats in the front up to get out of. You know what I'm talking about? It wasn't four doors; it was two doors. And every time, so I said, every time I get out of the car, I just feel like I was being born again because I was having to push myself out to get out of that car. Um, Gosh, there's been a lot more than that. I mean, you spent multiple nights at my house.
You have spent multiple years at your house.
Yeah, spent multiple years at my house. Couldn't get there on time when you're supposed
Oh,
to. Of
that's a
course,
funny one. That's a funny one. So the reason I was staying at Chris's house, I hope your dad don't mind this. I'm gonna tell the story about him.
oh, I'm
But
sure.
but the very first time I spent the night at Chris's house, I had a defensive driving course the next morning because I had wrecked my car. And I had talked to him about me staying while I was taking college because I would stay there every Friday night because I had college, well, Friday night and Saturday morning. And it was like a year and a half, maybe 2 years into doing this. Your dad comes up to me and he's like, "Are you still in that defensive driving course? Are you ever going to get out of that thing?" I was like, "I passed that a long time ago."
That's funny.
Now it didn't hurt that his now wife happened to live very close to my house, and they were able to spend more time together because he was
Ah,
spending nights
Yeah.
at my house.
there we
But
go.
that's another story for another time. You're welcome. But
Well, it kind of comes into that whole me not being able to be on time. So I told Chris I'd be over his house by like 10 and it ended up turning into like 12 or something like that. We'd be out in the parking lot talking.
It's funny.
and 5 kids later. But
Yeah.
anyway, I'd like to make the joke when God said to replenish the earth, him and his wife took it on as a personal project. But anyway, but no, she's a wonderful lady, and he's a pretty good guy there too. But they had to go and move to Ohio. I ain't figured that one out yet, but I guess they were tired of
Yeah,
hanging out with
why
me.
Ohio? It's
They tired of hanging out
So
with me, I think maybe, but I don't know.
long story short, my wife had some family up here that weren't in the
ah,
best of health. We didn't have any kids at the time. I was only 3 years into the job I had, didn't own a house. It was easiest for us to just pick up and move versus other people would have had to sell houses or do various different things. And so we came up here for that, ended up having 4 kids until just now this fifth one, but we ended up moving about a half an hour away, still in Ohio, because we fell in love with the area that we're in right now and really want to get that dog work started.
So you're saying Ohio has lots of stuff to do. Okay.
Oh, Ohio has nothing to do really. I love it, but
I was
that's kind
saying,
of what I am. I'm a bit of a homebody, so
So if you ever want to have children, move to Ohio. Apparently they're a lot more fertile over there or something. I don't know, but I don't know what happens there. But let's see. Gosh, man, there's been so much time you and I spent. Oh, we do have the unique privilege, me and Matt, there of we uh we kind of volunteered ourselves to redo uh a video project for our old college.
oh no.
That was a fun experience because this the it was called, what was that called, Matt? Do you remember what
Real
the
World Academy.
Real World Academy is what it was called? And they were using this horrible video from like, I think it must have came out from the 50s or something. I don't know. It was just terrible. I mean, just terrible audio quality, video quality. And since we were in video production classes at the time, and we had what was then a newish studio to work with and cameras and equipment, we just thought, well, hey, we'll take it upon ourselves to produce a whole new video for this Real World Academy. And we went to our instructor at the time and said, we'll do this thing, we can do it. And so we just basically took this on this project, and it was pretty fun. But let me tell you, man, when you have to spend hours and hours of editing, and we were literally finishing the thing up like the day it was due, trying to get the DVDs recorded and everything, just like in a total panic, trying to get it done. But I think it turned out pretty good for a couple amateurs, I must say.
The best part about it though was so the guy that ended up becoming my pastor was the recruitment and retention specialist at the college, and he was kind of the MC for the video, or what we're going to call it, the narrator.
He was the news reporter.
News reporter, yeah, for the fake newscast we had. Anyway, long story short, we had a whole bunch of bloopers that we didn't tell anybody about, and we
Oh,
put them in the end during the credits. So he
oh
has
no.
no idea about this. He is showing it to every school in the 4 counties.
Oh
And
no.
all of a sudden, at the main end, there's this big blooper reel with him.
That's
And what
Thank
was
awesome.
God he was a
funny
big boy.
is he, at the time, well, he still does, he wore glasses. And so when he took off his glasses, he looked like a different person. So the first time his wife saw it, she didn't know it was him. He looked so much different. And so it was just funny, man. It was a good time. We put a whole blooper reel in there. We did things with sound effects. We did like we were shooting reports from in the field. It was a bunch of fun stuff, man. I kind of miss those days,
That
honestly. It was
that reminds me of high school. So we had to do chili dinners for school fundraisers. We're
Mhm.
like, how do we entertain people? Oh, we'll make skits. So one of our homeroom teachers was like, we're gonna do all these skits and everything. He posted them to YouTube. I don't know why he did that, but they're on the internet. You see me at 17 trying to act. He wouldn't let me do accents. He's like, no accents for you. Apparently, one year I couldn't stop laughing between takes, so I'm not in some of them because I couldn't control myself to stop laughing because I thought it was so funny. Well, it had anything to do with what we were filming, to whatever I was in my head thinking about. I thought it was hilarious. He's like, I don't know what you're laughing about. But you need to be quiet. Just sit in the corner. Uh, they're
There is a video of me online doing a music video for the
dude, I was
song
just
Blue
about to
Collar
bring
Man by
this up.
what song was it?
Just about to bring this up. Go ahead,
Blue
Matt.
Collar
Sorry.
Man by Styx.
Oh no,
And we did it for a perform class. And I actually have a head full of, not long, but shaggy hair. So
It's
that's
one of my
definitely do not
favorite
want that no
YouTube videos.
more.
It's so obscure and hard to find, but it's great, man. I love that video.
It's one
Oh,
of those that's so cringy, it's great, is what he's saying.
yeah.
yeah. There's one we made fun of the whole school, and apparently some parents got mad.
Oh
So
no.
we made fun of certain students. We didn't give their names, but people figured out which kids they were. So apparently that became a problem. Like
Oh wow.
you can't make fun of the students. It's like, but we are the students. We're making fun of ourselves here too. Uh that was funny.
Yeah, but me and Matt, we've had a lot of good memories together over the years. I feel like we're talking like
Mostly
two
yelling
old
at each
timers.
other. Mostly yelling at each other playing what was that?
We've played Borderlands, Madden.
That's what it was. That's what I'm thinking of, yeah.
Oh yeah, Borderlands. Let me tell you, I don't know if either one of you have ever played Borderlands. I assume maybe
I
Nathan.
unfortunately watched the movie.
Okay, well that doesn't count. Um,
I
so we
played the
got into
third
this
game.
thing at Borderlands, and apparently Matt, I quickly found out, was one of the persons that had to loot everything, whether it be dead or not. He had to find every single gun and or attachment or whatever else. And I'm over there in the middle of a firefight, needing his help. And Matt's over there at, halfway across the map, and he's found something really cool. I'm like, Matt, I really could use you. Just a second. I really, da da da. I'm like, come on, dude, seriously. I'm coming. I'm coming. I just got to open this one chest. I'll be there in a minute.
But
Stuff
then I
like
would
that.
come in and save the day with my new really fancy gun.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, so those are fun day. Those are fun times. And then one time we held the ultimate Madden tournament, which I think took us half a
Oh,
year. Like we pitted every team against each other, and finally railed it down. And it
Oakland
was like,
Raiders.
yeah, it was the Oakland Raiders that finally won the whole thing, and I beat them. But it took us like literal months. We had a notebook, and we couldn't we did. I think this was to the point where we weren't spending as much time together. I think by that point, because I think you were in the process of getting married and or moving, or I don't remember, but just a lot of life changes were happening. So we didn't finish this tournament for like the longest time. So every once in a while we get together, hey, we need to play a couple more games of the tournament. Okay. And so it was like took forever to do, but it was fun. But yeah, good times, man. But anyway, anybody got any more questions for the man, the myth, the Matt over there?
Mm, do I? I don't think I do.
No, I mean,
Docs is like, I'm just here avoiding packing is what I'm doing. But
Yep, that's
using us as an alibi. Is
But honey, I had to be on the podcast. The guys needed me. I don't know what to tell you. No. But anyway,
go without me. You know, just
it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Well, I'll catch you the next trip. It's cool.
what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
it's not like I already have plane tickets and
Oh.
everything else. And it's no, it's gonna be a good trip. Go minister to the kids and stuff. But
Just don't drink the water, Doc.
drink the water all the time, as long as it's out of a bottle.
Drink the Coca-Cola though. I heard it's good.
It is.
Actually, Coca-Cola is really good. Is that where you're going?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Going down there do some mission work for a week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, Matt, we do appreciate you having you on, man, and we can do this again in another 15 years and update our memories. Maybe I'll have a couple kids running around by this point, and by that point, you probably be on 35 or so.
We I'll do the Duggars at that point.
Start doing a TLC reality show. Welcome to the Dye family.
Well, so it's interesting. I'll go ahead and throw this out there just because it's a fun little tidbit. So I have 5 kids. The oldest is 6, right? And there's a 3-year gap between the youngest and the next one.
Nice.
They finally took a break for a while, bless their hearts.
So 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2 weeks old.
Nice. It's okay. Between me and my 3 siblings, there's like a year and a half, a year, and then 5 years
Okay.
between the 4 of us.
Only 5.
Well, there's
17.
there's 4. There's 4
Okay,
siblings.
You got me and my youngest sister B.
Yeah.
17 and 13. Thank you very much.
It's 15 or sorry, 16. 15 and 16 between me and my brother and sister.
Oh, you got a point there. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So my brother's still in high school, so.
We are in your mid-30s.
My brother acts like he's still in high school. Granted, he's only 19, granted he's only 19, so he just graduated. But
Nathan, here we go again. You're acting like you're older than you are.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Nathan's like, oh, I got a brother in high school. What are you, 25? No.
He's the one I will not have on. I can't control what he says.
Nathan, we're still considered elder statesmen compared to you, sir. All 3 of us.
That is fair. That is fair.
It's like we're if
you were
if we're in the Bible right now, you're like Timothy and we're Paul and Peter and
that is fair.
Not really. We couldn't measure up to them, but no. But in example. Yeah, well, I'm running your way on that matter, but anyway. But
wasn't gonna bring attention to it until you said, just Eden send the she bears on me. So
I legit though, when I was younger and we did a youth class, my youth leader always joked on me because I'd pick on him for being bald, and he said, "Watch out, everyone that's ever done it ended up bald."
I know we make fun of our dad's bald. So
I just remember you didn't lose the hair; it just migrated.
Oh, yeah. So take the hat off here. Take the hat off.
I'm gonna say this. It is, and I'm thinking about shaving my head here soon. So if I just won't say anything. Come in. So
I will laugh.
Crads giving me a look.
I can say I will laugh if you do that.
Okay.
There will be a lot of laughter. Like you may have to pause the episode so I can regain my composure.
Okay. I'll just keep the camera off.
Yeah.
It just
no.
Just randomly start popping up.
We'll just use it for the blooper reel.
Lost episode number 2.
There we go. No. So if you enjoyed content like this, consider checking us out at Long Distance Party Podcast or Pizza Party Pod on most social media platforms. I'm about to go post. I was working on it beforehand. It was supposed to come out last week, but my power went out today, so that stopped me doing anything this morning. So I did a compilation of some of the guest questions from past guests from the past year. So that'll be going up and this episode. Not to get the same day. That's not going to happen. that'd be a nightmare. But you can check all that out, and I would say you can check the Discord out, but you can't send the link to the Discord. Join in. I just realized that I think last episode that you can't do that. So, whoops. But where can they find you, Matt?
I'm mostly just on Facebook. I really don't get a lot on social media, but the church that we're doing our daughter work through is Life Point Pentecostals of Middleport, and so we do have a Facebook page that we post on quite a bit. So,
You're not on the Tic Tacs or the X's or the.
nah, I never really got into them myself. So,
You may occasionally catch them slapping the bass though on a live video there at that church. So
yeah,
Ooh,
I'm a bass player there. So,
nice.
one of them. We have two other bass players that are very, very talented. So I don't want to dismiss from what they do either. So,
That's fair. That's fair. You could find me at ft_FastCruise. I'm working. I made a video because I just went through Instagram Reels, and I don't know why, because I never really do. I think I was just I couldn't get on TikTok because I was trying to upload clips, and I made a whole video talking about the weird reason why Sierra Mist changed names to Starry, like a year after that came out. But I found to mention I had to look it up to believe that wasn't true or not, and it is. So that video will be out next week. You can check that out. I think that's about it. At least big projects. There's another one I'm working on, but that's the next month project. I still need to put out that. I made a whole video building my computer, and my brother will not give me some of the video to finish it. I'm like, hey, can I have the video footage? He's like, yeah, okay. Can I have the video footage? He's like, I'll get it to you. It's so annoying.
he's holding your video footage hostage.
He
Nothing
is.
eliminated. No.
Every time I go bug him, he's sleeping. It's frustrating. I'm like, get out of bed. It's like
That's
one.
what you
Yeah,
show
grow
us,
up, be an
you're
adult
doing.
like me.
This is the
Well,
youngest.
you just
sibling.
threatened to mess up the wedding. It's all good. He'll get
No. This is the youngest sibling, the one that's not
Oh.
getting married.
Oh,
Threaten to mess up his future wedding then if he ever gets married.
And that's if he gets married. That's yeah. He will never be on this podcast. I don't trust him enough not to say something stupid.
Well, we trust you every week, so
I don't trust my other brother that keeps saying he wants to come on. I don't trust him either. But
Oh, it would make for great content though. I feel like.
yeah, spoilers. He pushed me into baptismal. That's a story we'll have to ask him about what he remembers. He claims he doesn't remember doing it, but
Selective memory.
yeah, he is getting married. So I mean, we gotta wait till after that till he buys a house. He never bought a house yet. I don't know what he's doing, but
wait, buying a house in this economy?
well, apparently the church that he's gonna be working for, they're giving him somewhere to live, but he hasn't heard
Okay.
anything. He hasn't heard anything. Oh, what's going on, Doc? Where do you find you?
On the TikToks and
TikToks.
at RS Dawkins 84. And yep, that's about it. I mean, I'm on the other stuff, but the only thing I really post on is that.
And Crad is
That
you
too.
got a TikTok now, don't you?
I know I do. I do have a ticky tack at CW Man. That's
Nice.
and I'm on here.
Since you're CW, you gonna talk about the failed Powerpuff Girls reboot?
Probably not. I'll leave that to you.
No,
I feel like you're an expert.
It was on this. No, it was on the CW. So you gotta to the bet the CW man.
I know. I got you.
That's horrible. It's horrible. I don't know why someone thought it was a good idea.
I mean that joke you just tried to pull?
No. I'm talking about the actual the joke and
the trailer that
they leaked. Yeah, I was like, oh my goodness. There's a reason the CW is gone. There's a good reason.
CW Man remains. CW, not so much.
Yeah,
it's still there.
No, it's not.
It's not at all.
No, they closed it down.
I
Oh,
swore like there's still locals.
Yeah,
Anyway,
there's still-
that's
there
another topic for another time.